My sister seduced my husband during my cancer treatment, so I became the disease in her perfect life. Savannah had been stealing my moments since we were kids. At my 10th birthday, she blew out my candles to help me. At my high school graduation, she wore white and told everyone we were both graduating even though she was a sophomore. At my engagement dinner, she spent the night telling Nathan's family how she introduced us, even though they met at work. The cancer diagnosis was just another moment for her to steal. 2 days after my diagnosis, Savannah moved into our house without asking. She made a Caring Bridge page but wrote everything from her perspective. Every post started with how hard it was for her to watch me suffer. Friends praised her dedication while I spent hours throwing up from chemo. 3 weeks in, I asked if Nathan could drive me to appointments sometimes. She started crying and said I was pushing her away during the hardest time of her life. She posted about how sick people lash out at caregivers. Nathan said I should apologize. By month 2, she'd reorganized our entire house. She moved Nathan's things to the guest room and started screening my calls. She turned away visitors saying stress would hurt my recovery. She joined Nathan for evening runs to discuss my care. They'd come back sweaty and avoid eye contact. 4 months into treatment, my white count dropped and the nurse sent me home early. I took an Uber because Savannah had our car for shopping. I heard voices from our bedroom and climbed the stairs slowly. When I opened the door, they were in my bed. Savannah was wearing the anniversary pajamas Nathan bought me. She jumped up wearing my robe and rushed over with fake concern. She asked why I was home early and said I must be confused from the medications. She actually told Nathan to call my nurse about hallucinations. He just sat there in his boxers while she performed. My legs gave out. I slid down the doorframe realizing she'd stolen my husband while I was fighting cancer. Nathan finally said I'd been distant and Savannah understood his stress better. He compared his stress to my cancer. They moved out next week. Savannah told everyone I'd become paranoid from treatment. She posted about watching loved ones lose themselves to illness. People praised her for setting boundaries. Most friends believed her. I finished 3 months of treatment alone. No one cheered when I rang the bell. I recorded it myself but deleted it. That night on my bathroom floor, I decided Savannah had stolen from me my whole life. This time would be different. During recovery, I studied Savannah's patterns like I was planning a battle. I made fake social media accounts to track her posts and learn her routines. I found out she had joined a fancy yoga studio and was flirting with her married instructor. She worked at a marketing firm downtown and volunteered for their charity events. She and Nathan had rented a condo near the river. I mapped out her entire life and looked for weak spots. I joined her yoga studio but went to different class times. I became friends with the instructor's wife at the juice bar next door. We bonded over books and recovery stories without me mentioning Savannah. When Savannah started asking for private sessions, his wife was already suspicious. She found their text messages and confronted Savannah in the packed studio lobby. She read every flirty message out loud while Savannah tried to cry her way out. The entire studio turned against her. Next, I joined the board of her company's charity foundation as a cancer survivor advocate. At their annual gala, I gave a speech about finding strength during treatment. I started by describing the loneliness of chemo and how cancer strips away fake relationships. I thanked the people who actually showed up, naming specific nurses and my support group. Then I said cancer taught me that some people make your tragedy their spotlight. I watched Savannah's face go from confused to panicked as her coworkers started looking at her. When I mentioned how my own sister turned my illness into her personal drama, Nathan stood up and walked out. Savannah spent the rest of the night cornered by coworkers asking why I hadn't thanked her. 3 months later, her company asked me to lead their survivor support group. I said yes and made sure to schedule meetings during her lunch hour. Her work friends started joining and sharing their own stories about attention-seeking relatives. 6 months later, I was invited to speak at a medical conference about patient advocacy. Savannah showed up with her new doctor boyfriend, wearing a huge ring. Halfway through my presentation about toxic caregivers, she stood up and announced their engagement. Security moved toward her immediately. She started yelling that I was talking about her, that I'd ruined her life, that this was family sabotage. 200 healthcare workers watched her get escorted out while she screamed about being victimized. Her doctor boyfriend left separately, looking mortified. Savannah eventually moved across the country but couldn't escape what people thought of her. She was forever known as the woman who slept with her cancer patient sister's husband. I remarried a man who brought happiness back into my life. We sent her a wedding announcement to be polite. She spent that day telling anyone who would listen how mean I was. The difference was that now nobody believed her acts anymore.